My brother Cole clinked his whiskey glass, smirking at me across the steakhouse table. You're 35 and still swinging a hammer for a living? Wasting your college degree, no settled life. When are you gonna grow up? At our dad's 60th birthday dinner. I set my water glass down slow, the sound cutting through the chatter of the table. I've been married for 18 months, and my wife and I are expecting our first baby this summer. My mom froze mid-sip of her martini, her glass still raised. My dad's birthday smile dropped clean off his face. Cole's wife Brooke stopped mid-conversation, her mouth hanging open. The entire table went dead silent. Married? A baby? My mom whispered, like she'd heard a ghost. To who? Their name is Jesse. We've been together 3 years, married 18 months. We bought our house in Denver 2 years ago, the one with the big backyard we're turning into a nursery. Cole recovered first, snoring a loud, disbelieving laugh. You're lying. There's no way you hid a spouse and a baby from us for this long. I wasn't hiding them. I just never told any of you because none of you ever asked about my life. That landed exactly how I meant it to. My family decided who I was when I was 18. Cole was the golden boy. The finance was who made 6 figures right out of college, married a country club girl, had twins, posted perfect family photos every holiday. I was the quiet kid who'd rather build furniture than study economics, who dropped out of my finance master's program to work construction, who slowly became someone they only called on major holidays. Even then, Cole would hijack the call in 3 minutes to talk about his latest bonus or his twins' private school milestones. Every family gathering had the same script. Cole and Brooke sat at the head of the table next to my dad, while my parents fawned over their grandkids. I sat at the end, answering the same 3 questions. Still working construction? Don't you get lonely living alone? Have you thought about going back to school for a real career? Yet my dad actually said that last one at Christmas 2 years ago, while passing the cookie tray. Meanwhile, I'd been living with Jesse for a year at that point. They proposed on a random Sunday morning, while we were framing the fence in our backyard. They got down on one knee in the dirt, holding a matte black wedding band they'd custom made to fit over my work gloves, and said they didn't want a big production, just something that felt like us. I said yes, covered in sawdust, and we married in our backyard a few months later, with just their family and a handful of our closest friends. Their mom made a cake, their dad officiated, and mine. I never told them because I knew exactly what would happen. My mom would cry about not being invited. My dad would lecture about family tradition, and Cole would find a way to make my wedding, my baby, my entire life, about himself, just like he made everything about himself. So I kept it, my quiet, happy life with a person who loved me, who celebrated every project win and every hard day, who never once made me feel invisible. After I dropped the bomb, Cole leaned forward, sneering, "If you're really married, where's your ring?" I held up my left hand, the same matte black band I'd worn every single day for 18 months. Every single person at that table had seen it. Not one of them had ever asked about it. My mom's face crumpled. I thought that was a tool belt accessory, something you picked up at a hardware store. You thought that because you never looked close enough to care. My dad cleared his throat. Why wouldn't you tell us something this important? Because the last time I tried to share something important, you talked over me for 45 minutes about Cole's new vacation home. I told you I'd been promoted to project manager, leading a $50 million affordable housing development, and Mom said, "That's nice, honey," and turned right back to Cole's vacation photos. Cole's eyes narrowed. This is selfish. Mom and Dad deserve to be at your wedding, to meet their new grandbaby. You robbed them of that. You robbed me of a family that noticed I existed. Cole stood up, red in the face. You're making yourself the victim, like always. You chose to leave finance. You chose to be distant. I chose to protect my happiness from people who never valued it. Show us proof then. Prove they're real. I pulled out my phone. Jesse and me at our backyard wedding. The sonogram of our baby. Photos of the half-finished nursery. 18 months of a life they never knew about because they never cared enough to look. My mom started crying. I can't believe you keep this from me. I can't believe you never noticed your kid was happy. My dad stared at the photos quietly. They sound like a wonderful person. And this housing project, that's incredible work. They are. I'd like to meet them. My dad said. They're in the restaurant lobby. Everyone's head snapped toward the front door. They drove me here. They've been waiting in the lobby for an hour because I told them my family wasn't ready. I walked to the door, opened it, and waved. Jesse stepped inside, gave me that warm, crinkly smile I fell in love with, and walked over to the table. They shook my dad's hand, hugged my mom, even though she was sobbing, introduced themselves to Cole, who just stared at them without speaking. They sat down and said, "I've heard a lot about all of you." The silence told them everything they needed to know about what they'd heard about them. We stayed for one more hour. When we left, my mom grabbed my arm at the door. "Please don't disappear again." I looked at them for a long time. I never disappeared. You just stopped looking.